All right. So now that you're registered in class, you're going to go to our homepage for WebAssign. Okay. Now across, and let me zoom in here. I always got to remember I need to zoom in because I have a 1440p monitor. I'll tell you more about myself later in a separate video. But here we go. So this is what our class page is going to look like. Now across the blue banner, the very top of the screen. All right, you're going to see home, my assignments, grades, communication, etc. Okay. Um, the most important thing up here is going to be the my assignments. But if you look directly underneath, it's going to say my assignments right here. And right now, this is just a sample assignment that I have listed here. I'm going to expand upon this later. All right. But I just want us to make sure that we understand where everything's located. So you got my assignments, you got communication, you got grades underneath, you have resources. So if you expand that, all right, you're going to see this is our textbook. Now, there are multiple ways to get to the textbook. There is the My ebook right up here in the upper right hand corner in the blue banner. Or if you look on the far right side, bottom of your screen, okay, you're going to actually see a picture of our book. All right. Now, I know some of us, we may want a actual physical textbook, and that's okay with me. I don't care about that. All right. But my suggestion is this: since this course is fully online and WebAssign, it actually comes with a digital version of our book. What I would do if I were you, if you really wanted a textbook, is go out and buy an edition that is older than the current one right now. So this is Calculus. This is Stewart. That's the author. Calculus 8 edition, and I posted this in in Blackboard. But if you just went to Amazon and you just typed in Stewart's Calculus, and we're gonna go with the 7th edition. So Stewart Calculus 7th edition, and we'll just click on the first one. You got all the options. If you look right here, it says buy used for $13.79. That's what I would do if I were you. Is I would just buy the 7th edition used version for $13 because this book, brand new. And I think I think it's the 8th edition, the one. Yeah, we're using the 8th edition. Even the 8th edition, brand new, is $150. All right. Do they? I don't. Yeah. They. Okay. So they do have used. They do have used versions of our book, but it's 61. Get the 7th edition. Calculus hasn't changed since Archimedes started to play around with this idea of area under the curve. All right. Now I know if you have any inclination of calculus, maybe you're thinking Newton or Leibniz, and I said Archimedes. Yes, calculus is older than Newton, although Newton gets credited with a lot of this idea of calculus, but mathematicians were playing around with this concept of calculus well before Newton. But anyways, go with the 7th edition. It's cheaper. It's $15, and then you'll have a physical copy of the book. Now let's go back to WebAssign. So within WebAssign, you're going to go to your assignments, and I just have a sample assignment here because I want us to kind of just look at how to use this. All right, going from left to right, you got your current score. Current score. It's going to tell you what your points are. Right now, you got a 0% on this homework assignment, and that is because you didn't answer any questions yet. On the far right-hand side, nice big, it says the due date. Now, directly underneath the due date, it's called request extension. I am the easiest going person there is. So the due dates are going to be listed there. However, if you have some issues, or maybe you run into a problem where you couldn't get the homework, assignments done in time, all you got to do is let me know. And the way that you let me know is you're going to click on request extension. So right here, all you have to do is just fill in, well, I'd like this homework due. Just give me one more day, professor. And don't worry about filling the time. I always make it due 11:59 p.m. And then the reason for an extension, you could give me a reason. You don't even have to type anything in here, okay? All you have to do is just click on submit, and you get this nice green check mark. You get a confirmation that says, yes, you requested this. And then I will get a notification that you requested the extension, and I just give it to you, all right? So that, I think, is really, really important because I don't want you getting overwhelmed with, oh, I forgot to do this homework assignment. Now I'm going to fail. No, All you got to do is request the extension. I will know. I will give you the extension. Okay. Now let's scroll down and let's look and see how we're going to be typing in answers. All right. So sometimes I may give you like a little graph here, and I just ask you to evaluate certain values. So, like for example, state the value of f of 1. Well, f of 1 is going to be 2. And when I clicked on this, excuse me, when I clicked on the cell to input my my answer, and I'll zoom in some more here so we can actually see that nice and big on your screen. It says enter an exact number. Now, we need to go over the definition of exact number. Exact numbers are 1, 2, the square root of 3, pi, 1/3. All right, those are exact numbers. Do not use decimal answers unless the problem specifically says, give me a decimal answer. Okay? Now, sometimes you may look at part B and it says, estimate the value of f of -1. Well, if I estimate the value of f of -1, it says enter a number. Notice it didn't say exact. So in this situation, a decimal is okay, and I'm gonna say negative. We'll say negative 0.3. Okay, and I'm totally guessing on that. All right. Then for this one, it says for what values of x is f of x equal to 1? Well, if you click on this, notice on the right-hand side, you get this calc pad that popped up, okay? Now, this calc pad is going to enable you, or it's going to allow you to type in your answers the exact way that you would write them. So, for example here, for what values of x is f of x equal to 1? Well, right here is the output of 1, so it looks like it looks like the value of x is going to be 0. So I'm just going to type in 0 here, okay? Now, let's say you something came up and you had to leave, okay? Well, there's a couple ways that you can go ahead and leave. The first way is if you just leave your window open, right there across the bottom, it said last saved. In other words, WebAssign automatically saves every couple of seconds after you type in an answer or something like that. That is kind of like oh, I forgot to hit something, hopefully it's saved, all right? The best way to make sure that your answers are saved is just to go ahead and submit your answer, okay? Now, across the top here, you're going to see it's going to say in green, submit it. And the second thing is you're going to see, okay, well, I got a red X, I got a green check mark. Well, I wonder what they mean. Well, it's kind of obvious what they mean, which is I got 1A incorrect, or I'm sorry, 1A and 1B, or I'm sorry, 1A and 1C incorrect. 1B is correct. Now, the nice thing about this is I give you an infinite amount of tries for the homework. So even if you got something correct, you can always go back and correct it to get the best score possible for homework. So let's go back in and let's fix our mistakes. So state the value of f of 1. Well, I needed to be more careful with this one. This is going to be 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead, let's change that answer. And this is a very common mistake students make. They only read the first part of the question, but they never read the parentheses. And notice that the parentheses say, enter your answers as a comma separated list, which means there may be more than one answer here. So for what values of x is f of x equal to 1? Well, 0 is definitely one of the answers, but so is right here. All right, so this is going to be x equals 3. So 0, 3. And now when I go ahead and submit my answer, notice the red X's changed the check marks. And if I scroll up top, my score for this homework assignment is starting to populate. Okay, so let me go ahead. Let me scroll down. All this stuff down here, you can, it's just basically filling in other questions. Let's view the next question. All right. Sometimes I feel very nice and I'm like, I'll just give you a yes or a no question. All right. All you have to do here is just answer the question, click on yes or no. But what's really nice about this, and this is why I have this here, if you need some help, you got 2 options. Actually, technically, you got 3. The first option is read it. So if you click on read it, a window will pop up and it's going to take you to this section of the book where you would actually find the answer to this question here. It doesn't take you directly to the exact example, but it takes you to the section. So that's the first thing. Second thing, you can watch it. So if you click on watch, a little video is going to pop up, and it's going to kind of show you what the essence of this problem is really trying to teach you here. All right. And if you click here, you can view the transcript. So it's really nice. It has the closed captioning and everything. And then the third option is on the far right-hand side. It says, ask your teacher. All right. Now, every person has a different problem. So for example, my number 2, which says f of x is equal to x plus the square root of 2 minus x. Well, if you look here, do you see how that's a red number? That means everybody is going to have a randomized number there. My number is 2, your number could be 8. Doesn't matter. It's different. What matters is I'm begging you right now, please, if you have a question on your homework or a quiz or an exam, use the ask your teacher function, okay? And the reason for that is because if you just say, Professor Float, I don't understand how to start number 2. Well, I don't know what your number 2 is because everybody has different problems. However, excuse me, if you click on ask your teacher and you just give me a little, just a little note like, where do I start? All right. And then you hit send. Well, I will get a link to your specific problem. And that way I can copy it, write something up, and send it back to you real quick. Otherwise, what I'm going to say is, I don't know your problem. Could you please use the ask your teacher feature? Okay. So please go ahead and do that for me. Now, sometimes I give you a graph, all right, which is nice. And you got to remember to read the parentheses inside, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to answer this. Determine whether this curve, determine whether the curve is a graph of the function of x. Well, this fails the vertical line test, so no, this is not a function. And then it says, if it is, now this is important. If it is, state the domain and range of the function. Enter your answers in interval notation. If the curve is not a graph of a function of x, then enter DNE, which means does not exist. Well, since this is not a function, our domain is going to be DNE. So make sure you type that in. All right. And like I said, anytime you want to save your answers, you want to guarantee that your answer's saved, just hit submit. All right. Then I think I have one more question here. I don't know why. Let me see. What is this last one? Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. Need to go over this one too. All right. So in this example, determine whether the curve of the graph is a function of x. Well, this one, let's see here. Is this a function? Well, we need to go through and we need to remember, our rules. The first one is really easy. It's the vertical line test. If you draw a vertical line anywhere and you only touch your function once, then it is a function. Now, the one that students always kind of get a little iffy about is right here. We call this a jump discontinuity is what it's called, okay? But if you were to draw a vertical line straight down here, you would only hit right here where this dot is shaded in. Notice directly underneath, it's an open dot. So yes, this is totally a function. We passed the vertical line test. That's great. Now, our domain for this situation is going to be, let's see here. Let me count. -3. Oops, it would be nice if I typed in -3, right? -3 to 2, all right? And then the range is going to be, the lowest it gets is 1 to -3 again, comma, but this is where you got to be really careful, okay? Because notice our range goes from -3, and then it goes to -2, but it does not include -2. Now, if you're wondering, like, where am I getting this information from? And it's going to be kind of hard because I can't draw on the screen. So you're going to have to kind of follow my mouse, which is over top of the graph. The lowest that this graph gets, the y values, is -3. It's all the way down here. So if you started at the origin, -1, -2, -3, that's the lowest this gets. Then you want to start moving up. But if you move up right here, you cannot include this value of y, all right? Because it's an open dot. So this is going to be the value of -2. Then you have this jump discontinuity right here. So now the question becomes, well, how do you get, or how do you write the union of two sets? Well, that comes over here to the calc pad, all right? Where you're gonna have to go through, and if you click on each one of these, notice we have operations, we have functions, we have symbols, we have relations, we have sets, we have vectors, we have trig, and then we have all of our Greek symbols as well. Well, we're gonna go back to sets, and right here is our union. So we're just gonna click on union, and then we're gonna continue with our range. So let me recap real quick. The range are all these, they're all the outputs, they're all the y values. So this goes from -3 all the way down here, y equals -3, all the way up to y equals -2. Then we have our jump discontinuity, and then this restarts at -1, and you can include -1 because that is a solid dot. And the highest this is going to get is all the way up to 1, 2, 3, because this right here is the maximum for this little piecewise defined function right here. So that is going to be +3. So I'm going to hit comma 3 and then end the bracket. And now when I submit my answer, hopefully I'm correct. And I get all these nice green check marks. They make me feel good about myself. And once again, like I said, your homework score will increase. All right. Homework, unlimited attempts. Please, you should be getting perfects on the homework. All right. Now, the one thing I do want to kind of discourage you from doing is trying to Google the answer. All right. Because that is a form of cheating, and it's only going to cheat yourself. A lot of us in this room, you were taking Calc 1, and maybe, just maybe, this is the only calculus course you need. Others, you're going to be taking Calc 1, 2, and 3. Then you may be taking differential equations, linear algebra, analysis courses, and then the list goes on. If you have a weak calculus foundation, not only is this course going to be very difficult, but all the other courses after this are going to be extremely difficult. All right. So if you don't understand something, all you got to do is ask your teacher. Okay. If you don't understand something, need some help, read it or watch it. Okay. I'm very easygoing and I love to answer questions. The only thing I can't do is read your mind. So please, if you got a question, just let me know. I can set up a Zoom meeting or something like that with you. But other than that, this is kind of your crash course in the WebAssign. Trust me, you're going to be making mistakes with WebAssign. That's fine, okay? All you got to do is let me know. Another thing, I should leave us with this. Sometimes on a test, let's say this was a question on your test, and instead of writing -3, 2, you put a decimal, or you put a decimal point in between the two. And then when you submit your answer, notice it's wrong, okay? It will give you some feedback, but here's what's nice. On an exam, you only get one chance at an exam. I will always go through every single exam question to make sure that you didn't have like a typo. Like this, to me, honestly, is not an incorrect answer. To me, it's a typo. So I will go ahead and give you back the points for that. All right. So I check for typos, and I will announce that on Blackboard and everything. So just so everyone's aware. But yeah, if you got a question, let me know. Crash course and WebAssign. There you go. Good luck, and I will see you in the next video.